Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve.
Fine, whatever. I hit record.
Fine,
we're doing it.
You sound so like you resigned.
Well, yeah. Oh God.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve. It's Sunday at noon-ish.
Yeah, ish.
Welcome. Glad you're here.
We're glad you're here.
Have a cup of coffee. Have a beverage.
I have a cup of coffee. Oh, I need to shout. This is Bones Coffee. Are you familiar with the Bones brand of coffee?
I do not.
It's mail order. It's delicious. We love Bones Coffee right now.
Today's episode brought to you by Bones Coffee.
Yes,
made out of the bones of our inferiors. Bones.
Right now I'm drinking S'morey Time. It tastes like s'mores.
Oh, it's flavored?
Yeah, which normally I'm not too down with, but they have some really good flavors. They have a holy cannoli. It's good.
If you've ever worked in any coffee industry and you've had to taint coffee with chemically flavored shit, you will never drink flavored coffee again.
Whatever, man. I like some chocolate raspberry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a purist, man. I like what I like.
It's not even like, I'm not even trying to be a pure, like, oh, how could you do that to coffee? It's literally the chemicals used are so potent because they have to be, because they have to, like, you have to use a little flavoring for a lot of coffee, like it has to go a long way. And so the flavoring chemicals of and by themselves are so intense to your olfactory senses that, like, by the time you buy a pound of flavored Vienna strudel coffee or whatever, it smells great in your home. But when you have to put it in coffee, it's like I don't know. I think
you do that like at the coffee house or something.
We didn't do it at the coffee house because it came flavored. I had to flavor freshly roasted coffee at this place called the Coffee Roaster in where was
that? When you were in California?
Yeah, I worked there for a hot minute. So I would get there and I was starting to learn how to roast. And so, like, I'd get there at like 5 a.m. and there was like the flavors of roasted coffee is so smoky and awesome. Yeah. And then he'd be like, "Hey man, sorry, we got to make this batch, flavored amaretto." And we're both like, and he was like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh God!" And then so
that's sorry, great. It doesn't sound great. Joel's like literally wincing into the microphone,
and that's it. Like, I'm not here. I'm not
translate very well, but I assure you, he's wincing. He's grimacing.
It's like there's like a reaction in my stomach with it. It's like I want to lurch not because I don't like flavored coffee and I'm being a highfalutin asshole. It's that
why don't you make avocado toast or something?
Yeah, if you actually have to, you work with those flavorings, you'll never want to again.
Well, I've never done that, so I'm enjoying the shit out of my coffee.
I'm glad.
I just want you to know that it's great.
In my heart of hearts, I'm really glad you're enjoying it. I honestly am, because I didn't really like flavored coffee anyway. But every year I would go down to the coffee house and get a pound of Vienna strudel around Christmas time because I literally think it tastes like Christmas, but I can't do it.
That's legit.
The coffee roaster in, Van Nuys, California fucking ruined it for me.
Well, whatever. Bones Coffee is delicious and we love them.
Today's episode brought to you by Bones.
And I'm also drinking a Kirkland Signature sparkling water lemon.
You're double fisting it.
I am double fisting because I kind of need the caffeine. We played last night and I'm a little groggy.
How'd the show go? It
was great. Shout out to Broke Down Palace in Omaha, Nebraska. They call themselves a Grateful Red bar because it's ostensibly a Grateful Dead sports bar.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was great. It's funky, and the people were all very nice, and they treated us well. And the I mean, like the establishment, and then the patrons were great. Everybody had a good time. We hooted and hollered and danced and basically had a good time. You know, it was awesome.
Yeah. Did you guys play for 4 hours straight?
We played we got a little late start. Sound guy showed up a little later than what we thought when we were going to start.
Last in, first out.
We were running on hippie time, you know, which is fine because nobody was worried about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, nobody here cares, so I'm just gonna hang out, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was cool, and his name was Craig, and he had actually built some of the sound system himself, like home built speakers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, well, you know, it's a Grateful Dead bar, and they're kind of audiophiles, so you know, we want it to be good. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. The thing that I plugged my amp into was, in a word, suspect. There's like this power strip hanging from a power strip that was all frayed. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to plug my stuff into this.
You sure? You sure you want me to do this? You have insurance? I have insurance.
It was, no, it ended up being fine. But yeah, I had a moment of like, oh boy, oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it ended up being great. We're pretty good at what we do, which is it's nice just to be able to show up and, you know, rock the joint. I
can attest to that.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the thing that you just did, the this Mortal Life Also business. Play.
Yeah.
First of all, have you had some for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Joel was just in a play down at the Carson Theater at the Lead Center here in Lincoln called This Mortal Life Also. And that line comes from
an old hymn called my least favorite Christian hymn ever, which is saying a lot. A mighty fortress is our God.
There you go. But it's about correct me anytime I'm wrong, but
okay. I have my buzzer ready.
Yeah, right. It's wrong. It's about a plot to overthrow Hitler from within the Nazi party.
It's a historically accurate description of. So the playwright Nancy Shank, who is a local playwright, and this is like her first play, but this play has been in working condition for, like, it's been in rewrites and readings and stuff for the last 6 or 7 years.
Wow!
But she's kind of always been fascinated by the life of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a German Lutheran theologian pastor who got kind of mixed up because of his brother-in-law, whom I played, Hans von Tuchnani. He got kind of wrapped up in the Nazi party and was a part of the plot to arrest and then the part of the plot to assassinate Adolf Hitler. But it was kind of like, she always wanted to write a play about Bonhoeffer, but it's like he's got such a wide breadth of, you know, story. So she was kind of fascinated about his decision to not, like, he left Germany during the Nazi regime, but then chose to come back because he's like, I'm leaving my people behind.
That's intense.
Super intense. So anyway, it's about a specific sort of few years of his life where he got recruited by my character, his brother-in-law, who was an Abwehr, which is essentially, you know, Nazi CIA military intelligence. My character was a part of the Abwehr, working with the chief of the Abwehr to arrest. And then when they realized that wasn't going to happen because they didn't have support from the Allies, they were just going to take Hitler out. And that didn't work. They tried 2 or 3 times and that didn't work.
That's
my character was arrested eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just sort of usurped your description.
No, go.
But my character, Hans von Tuchnani, and his wife, Christelle von Tuchnani, were arrested by the SS because they were caught with a minor clerical error, rescuing 14 Jewish people and getting them out. So when my character was in, when Hans von Tuchnani was in a camp, or, prison, he asked his wife Christelle to go get him a disease of some sort and poisoned himself so
Really?
that everything he said and would say was they couldn't trust it.
Really?
Yeah, they like some sort of disease that sort of was known to affect cognitive ability.
Like mind wastage?
Yeah, pretty much. He poisoned himself.
So she ran down to the corner shop and picked this up?
Apparently, got it from a doctor. He got himself sick on a visit or something.
That's amazing.
And he took all of his little cabal's network secrets to the grave.
With him.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I would have thought like the cyanide route or something like that.
No, it wasn't instant. It was something like it was specific so that even if they could pull a thread of what he said, they doubted it because they weren't sure of what he said was true or not.
He even his last days, his last act was to confound those fuckers.
Correct.
Wow.
He's a real OG anti-fascist.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so this play, she wrote this play to sort of, pinpoint this time, and it was mostly around Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I mean,
sure,
it wasn't about my character, although
your character was a catalyst.
Yeah, without my character in this specific play, none of those events of that story would have happened. But it was really about Bonhoeffer.
I thought it was just a really well done production. Everybody acted with aplomb,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, I didn't enjoy, but I was intrigued by the, I don't remember the man's name, the Nazi priest person.
Oh, Herr Heckel.
Herr Heckel, yes. And watching his, whatever descent or ascent into the Nazi party as his costumes changed and became more festooned with Nazi imagery and that sort of thing. And
that was the thing that struck me when I read the play months ago, was that the device that the playwright used to show the escalation of the Nazi party was using essentially Dietrich Bonhoeffer's supervisor because then there all of a sudden there was the Nazi church, like that scene where you start hearing all that German chanting. That was actually Germans reciting the Third Reich's Bible. They rewrote the Bible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was it was Hitler and Jesus were those two are just arm in arm.
Well, yeah, he was like they had to profess Hitler as the next
the Messiah.
Yeah, that he was he was Germany's Christ.
It was weird. That would never happen here.
No, it can't happen here.
Can't happen here. Yeah, that is very sobering.
Yeah.
Few parallels.
Well, that's the there has been a lot of the community response. Like even my mom was very moved by it because she was like, this is what's going on now. Like the invasion of Ukraine happened while we were in rehearsals.
Yep.
And there were a couple of things that Nancy was going to take out of the play just to kind of clean it up, but then she left in because of that event. I don't know. I kind of got, as an actor, you get kind of, you put blinders on. Like I have a job to do. I have to learn this stuff. I have to do what the director wants. I kind of have to stay in this lane. And yeah, there's some research, but I kind of just have, which was, we can talk about, that was a freeing experience for me as an actor again, was to just kind of do that. But
sure.
So you don't really think about the effect that it's going to have on a community. But then after we started showing it to people, everybody was like, oh my God, this is happening right now. And we're like, oh, fuck, it kind of is,
Not kind of. Real time.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting to watch. I was thinking about, I mean, obviously the entire production was thought provoking, but Herr Heckel's thing of this deal of he's getting he is ascending, he is getting promoted, he is living a very good life. And so I got to say that Hitler's God. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Totally fine with that.
He has a line about that, which I think is kind of sums up fascism. It's like, you have to just say it. Doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Just say it.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of scary.
I mean, yeah, you'll get elected. You get elected if you say this shit.
Or you'll, if you sign on with the thing that's pure evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
To hell with all those other poor schlubs.
Yeah.
We're getting ours.
Exactly.
And maybe we'll have to, incinerate 1 million or so people,
Life is too short for integrity, man.
Life is too right. Yeah. And we can't be bothered with them. In fact, you know what? They're kind of inconvenient. Yeah. They're a combination of inconvenient and a really great scapegoat.
Yeah.
So how about we just put them all in ovens?
I was not prepared for the parallels, Yeah. But it was really go ahead.
There was one scene at I think it was kind of towards the beginning where your character kind of goes off on Bonhoeffer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's I think, he's acting, but not entirely.
That Kirsten said the same thing. She's like, I can pretty much know where you got that research. It was right around, I don't know, 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
She's like, I've heard you rant like that in our living room. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like, I had notes along that line in that speech. It's like, this is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And one night the director was like, because I don't know if I was not really kind of uncorking the bottle yet, with that. Because it's like this whole speech where I just go off because he's like, I don't want to be paid by because Bonhoeffer's
he's true. He was
like, I'm in, but I don't really want to be a part of it, and I don't really want to take pay from these people. And I'm like, nobody wants to do this,
right.
And it's just like, this is, it's horrible what's happening. I'd rather be doing all these other things, but I have to be doing this. I have to fight this despot, fucking insane dictator. And I'm like, that sounds it. And one night in rehearsal, Timothy, our director, was just like, he just came up to me before that scene and he was like, let it rip.
Nice.
Let it rip. And I was frothing at the mouth. I was drooling. It was like, you don't know where I was trained, motherfucker. I can go. If you want to say go, I will go. And everybody in the room was like, this just became something else. And he's like, yeah, okay, now we're gonna craft this. Because I was just like,
so funny,
right? But it was really cathartic.
Release the Kraken.
Exactly. That's essentially what he's like. Uncork it. I'm like, okay, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
That's right. Let's do this. Oh God, that's great.
It was really nice to be in. And again, like you said, everybody was professional and everybody was, all the actors were on point. Like that was the best part of this whole process. Was the play was great and getting to do that role was amazing. But the cool part was that everybody was consummate professionals.
Sure.
There was no, for lack of a better way to put it, there was no drama in the drama department. Everybody was great. Everybody was professional. We all had a job to do. We were all getting paid. It was like no BS. It was very professional, very encouraging. I told Kirsten after the first week of rehearsal, I was like, the great thing about a professional rehearsal process is that nobody's there to, nobody feels obligated to give you praise or validate you. You just, you validate yourself walking in the room.
Right.
You have a job to do that.
We're not here. You were hired to do the job. So there's that.
Yeah. You're the right person for the job, do the job. Mm-hmm. It's not like it was cold and shitty. It was just like, nobody, if you were struggling, people let you struggle and like trusted that you were going to get through that scene or learn that line, or the only punishment you were going to get was if you decided to punish yourself about whether it was working or not.
Sure.
It was just a really lovely professional environment too, which I think lent the show to be a success in my mind.
So who like produced that? Who was the promoter? I guess maybe I'm not using the right terms.
No, I produced. So the production company that
Or was it that Angels Theater?
Angels Theater Company that was started by Judy Hart and somebody else, and I don't know their name, 20 plus years ago, in Lincoln. They've been around forever. And I've worked with them tangentially here and there over the years. It's now under different leadership. Judy Hart, who is an amazing woman, has stepped down and I think retired from that, but she's still up, sort of maybe on the board. Mm-hmm. But that company has done a very good job over the years of fostering and encouraging new plays. So they have like monthly salon reading series. They have like I think every year they do this thing called First Flight, which is staged readings of new plays that get an audience. And I think this is one of those that was like kind of birthed from that writing group that kind of had wheels, had traction, and was like, oh, this could be a really great thing. And obviously, weirdly, there's an audience for, I guess maybe it's just the Germanic Midwest settlement of Lutherans in this part of the world. But it's like people have a real taste for Bonhoeffer, like
never heard of him till last Friday.
I think I have only because of my theological upbringing, but yeah, it's like, but there's like Bonhoeffer scholars, people that's like, I think the guy that the retired president of Nebraska Wesleyan University was facilitating the talkbacks after every show. He's like a Bonhoeffer expert. Yeah, I think, or somebody was, so there's like, yeah, there's a real audience for Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
There's my fact of the day.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Although I will say that I hope that thing gets turned into a major motion picture.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I'd love the role. I think that I have read worse scripts that got published.
Sure.
Let's put it that way. I think that whether she wants to turn it into a film or not, but I think a large arena. Yeah, I think that it's one of those plays that could get picked up or published and then produced around the country, Sure.
Well, I think it's an important story. And I guess I had no idea that Herr Bonhoeffer was as, popular, whatever, studied as he is. Like I said, I mean, not that I'm a World War II scholar by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm. I think he's most well known for his theological writing more so than this event. I mean, I think it's just like everybody in Germany at that time got sucked in one way or another, or rejected it one way or another, or were killed one way or another.
Well, how could you not?
Right. And he chose, I mean, he had way more privilege and options than I think that play really, I mean, he could have left. I mean, the British government was like, we'll put you. Come on. Yeah, we'll put you to work at Oxford.
Right. We'd love to have you.
We'd love to have you, and we'll save your life. So don't go back to Germany because it's a fucking shit show there. And he's like, I think I'm going to go back. But like he already made a huge name for himself with his writings and his theology. Like he was kind of not radical. Yeah, he was kind of radical. He was more like, you guys are twisting the gospel into ways it shouldn't be twisted kind of guy. He's kind of a good one like that.
Right.
And that got him a lot of attention all over the world.
Prior to Hitler?
Prior to Hitler. He was he taught at major universities. He taught in the United States. He taught in
so he was one of those liberal elites.
He was a liberal elite for sure. Mm-hmm. But that's like, Germany, that I mean, you want to talk about some similarities though. Like I have a speech where I tell him one of my lines is, we have to save our nation of poets and thinkers. That is an actual Germanic phrase, like poets and thinkers. I can't say it in German. I don't know it, but they, before the Third Reich, had a real celebration of like, just, art, intellectual thought. Yeah. Well,
That was in the, what do you call it? The libretto, the book, the thing that you get when you walk in. What do you call that?
The program?
The playbill.
Playbill.
Yeah. There was a little piece on that in there, which was helpful to me.
Yeah.
Just that Berlin was a very progressive city, and art kind of reigned, and thought, and just thinking about like, well, how can we be better?
Oh, ding, ding, ding. Today's trying to be better catchphrase brought to you by Bones, the bones of our enemies. Bones Coffee. Drink Bones.
But that, and yeah, I mean, that's we're certainly seeing some backlash about that in our country currently.
Anti-intellectualism.
Yeah. Like, don't be smart, be violent.
Don't be smart, be violent.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's our catchphrase, which is kind of, or that was Rob Bell was talking about that. I don't know, a few months ago, that like we as a nation had kind of gone, and not that I'm getting the weeds here, but that part of like once a society gets to a certain point where it's like basic needs are met, then you can think about things like, have like a renaissance, and you can have art flourishing, you can have free thought, you can have just the freedom to create,
to progress.
Yes, exactly. And that one of the goals of, well, pick somebody, whether it's Putin or our former president or whatever, is to destabilize our society to the point that we go back a few steps to just a feudal tribal warring state, where that's all it is just, Hatfields and McCoys writ large. And it's just people fighting people because they hate each other for stupid reasons. And then art and intellectualism and all that just goes straight down the shitter.
Because if you have a nation of people that are empowered enough to create, and this is getting a little philosophical, then they're tapping into the nature of the universe, or the nature of God. And if the universe is infinitely expanding as we speak.
Yes.
So the DNA of life is expansion and progress. And that scares people that want to play God.
Ooh, right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. We gotta clamp down on that.
Yep.
Because then people might realize that I'm just a loudmouth with a bunch of money.
Yeah. It's hard to control people that are empowered to create.
Yes.
Because then and it's like that's what I think this transphobia and homophobia and the attack on women's bodies right now in legislation is all about.
Yes, it is. Agreed.
It's couched in a bunch of other bullshit, especially the anti. I mean, we are turning into the fucking Handmaid's Tale right now in some states, and it's coming to Nebraska for sure.
Yeah.
But the demand to fucking take control of women's bodies is purely based on this fear that if people have freedom like that and we can't oppress them with pregnancy, then, we can't keep people poor.
Right.
We can't keep people, like if we don't do that, then, but it's couched in this bullshit morality that's not
right. Which has always been a total sham.
100%.
It's always been a sham. The moral majority, all of that. I mean, it's always been a sham. It goes, Jimmy Swaggart.
Right.
Jim and Tammy Faye. Pat Roberts and all those guys.
Realistically, well, I'll get to the transphobia bullshit here in a second, but if men could get pregnant, if men could get pregnant, we would have a very different fucking situation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
That I was thinking about. I listened to, we ran the rerun a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about current congressional candidate Jazari Qual.
Yeah,
we were talking about the thing where he didn't ask permission from anybody to become a journalist.
Right.
He just did.
Right.
And that, well, you can't do that. And he's like, why not?
Why not? I have a fucking TV studio in my pocket.
Right.
Why
can't I do that?
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that, the entrenched powers that be do not want to happen.
No.
Why can't I run for Congress?
Right. Exactly.
And
that's the beauty of you need a certain amount of audacity.
Sure.
The audacity to do something like that.
Right.
And that's, yeah.
I listened to that conversation with Alok.
Alok Menon. Oh gosh, I'm going to ruin his there.
Well, that was, Alok was so, they were so, what am I trying to say? The points that they were making were so profound, just one right after the other, that the talk show hosts they were on, they had nothing to say.
They were speechless. And that's
literally speechless, which for a bunch of, talking audio heads.
Yep.
I found that endlessly amusing because I could relate. Like, I don't even know what to say to that.
Alok V. Menon.
Yeah, there you go.
They are an incredible, they're a poet, they're an activist, they're all the things, but I shared it on the Instagram page, but I might share it again. It's the, what is it? The Man Enough podcast.
Yeah, Man Enough
Justin
podcast.
Baldini. Yeah.
And that podcast had all of the trappings of kind of a corporate funded slickness, you know?
Yeah.
And to have Alok would just say these things, and the three hosts were just.
My favorite thing is they also, I just need to get better at pronouns. So they also were on Glennon Doyle's podcast, and it was so funny because they are just like, I told Kirsten, I was like, Alok is, when I listen to Alok speak and they get on those kind of momentous they're just sort of just really riffing, I feel like I'm sitting at the feet of a Buddha.
100%. I had the same experience.
Or a Christ. I'm like, I'm not deifying them, but I'm saying that they are willing to say things to the masses that are totally leaves you speechless.
Yes.
And so on the Glennon Doyle podcast, they're like just spitting that game, and they're like, we have to take a break. And it's like, buy an Acura. And I was like, you just undid it.
Acura. That's right. Yeah. The message brought to you by Acura and
Hyundai and Hyundai and Bones Coffee
and Sonic Drive-ins.
Ooh, yeah. I could use an ocean water trip right about now.
There you go.
So anyway,
but that Alok's, I loved when they said just that something to the effect of, and I'm obviously going to blow this, but like, if you think that trans rights are just about, some queer or whatever, it's absolutely not. It's absolutely relates to your freedoms. We're fighting, the trans community are actually fighting for the straight community's rights too.
That it's all connected, and it's like
all connected. You just don't see it.
You don't see it because it seems foreign to you, but there's nothing more essential and in line with you being allowed to exist.
Right.
If you don't allow trans and queer folks to exist in public, that is a direct hit on your freedoms.
Absolutely. Both spiritually and practically.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the first wave. It's low hanging fruit is what it is. It's low hanging fruit to make it okay to, to have families turn in their trans kids.
Right.
Like, what the hell kind of slippery slope do you think that's starting?
That is scary as fuck.
Right. Like, to have neighbors turn, hey, I think my neighbor has a trans kid.
It's basically,
do people not see how incredibly dangerous that is?
It's giving the PTA in some South fucking public school system the ability to enact Kristallnacht.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing that bothers me the most. It's like, well, we don't have to legislate them. We'll just allow the general public to
self-police
women that want to get abortions.
Yep.
And people that are trans, queer, lesbian,
whatever.
gay,
yeah,
all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that we don't have to actually, we just pass the fascism onto their fears.
Right. It's kind of like the Uber model of fascism.
It's fascism in a gig economy.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah.
We don't even actually have to like deal with the infrastructure of that.
Nope, we don't have to deal with the infrastructure of the fascism. We'll pass that on to the individual.
They're already scared and racist and all of that. We'll just give them the power because they have guns, obviously, because we've allowed them to have.
All they need is for somebody to say, actually, it's okay to go kill them.
Actually, you know what? It's tapping into their innate weird fantasy about being a fucking cowboy.
Right. Yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
Like, I know you've always wanted the Wild West and you pretend to be in the Wild West.
Right.
So we're just going to let you be the Wild West.
Yeah. We're going to deputize you.
Yeah.
To be judge, jury, and executioner. So knock yourself out.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a substantial percentage of our population is like, sweet.
Yeah. I've been waiting.
Obviously,
I've been
waiting for this moment my entire life.
Yeah. I've been salivating about overturning an election, but it'd be really nice if I could just kill people I don't understand. Right. And that's the thing. Like, I don't understand. I don't know the solution to that. I mean, maybe it is more legislation, but I don't know what else it is. It's like, and then this is the interesting thing. Not that I want to downplay or co-opt somebody's lived experience, but it's like, do we all have to claim? I mean, do we confound the system then and just say, well, we're all allies, we're all trans, we're all this, we're all getting abortions. Like, what are you going to do if we're all doing this? Like, I don't know what the fucking solution is.
I don't see that happening.
But it's like, I can't hide from that. And the government obviously is not going to do anything because they're terrified to legislate that because it'll be, I don't know.
It's a third rail.
It's a total third rail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when, again, a substantial proportion of our federal government is completely fascist, that's a dangerous situation to be in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel for kids. I feel for the trans and queer kids in Florida who are like, one day they woke up and said, school is the one place I can be me.
Right.
And the next day is I can't be me there.
Right.
Because my parents may know, or the guidance counselor is a fucking bigot, or, I can't, it's not.
No safe space.
No.
But again, it all goes back to kind of the cruelty is the point. It always has been.
Right.
Just to be cruel, just cruel to prop up the incredibly fragile ego of white male toxic masculinity.
Yep. It all goes back to like,
I need something to hate.
Right around the time that same-sex marriage became the law of the land, there was a lot of language like, well, if you don't like same-sex marriages, don't get same-sex married.
Right. Right.
If you don't like abortions, don't get an abortion.
Right.
If you don't like trans, don't be trans. But like allow, like, what is more? I'm sorry. What is more American than letting somebody dress, be, live, however? How does that affect you?
But see, that's just it. Is that America's never actually been about that. Right.
You're right.
My senior year government teacher, we've talked about him before, John P. McMenamin. I hope you're out there and doing well.
Where's he at? Is he around? Is he alive? We got to find him. I want to know what he's. Yeah. Okay.
Me too. But this is something that's always stuck with me is, you can say what you want in America, just so long as you watch what you say.
Yeah.
That's always stuck with me. And that was 100% correct. You can yell belligerently about my freedoms, but if you talk about trans rights, it's a no-go.
Yeah, I'm here to say that I am in full support of trans rights, gay rights, abortion rights, women's health rights. I'll say it right here. And
that's what I think the women's health rights is the overarching issue.
It's so fucked, man.
Mm-hmm. It's a war on women.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
I mean, nothing could be more. I mean, yeah, that's the difficult thing, is that you can't worship freedom and not allow freedom to be free.
Sure, you can.
I mean, I know you can, but you're creating your own denial, and you're gonna suffer from that.
Yes, but the solution to that is more repression. If we can turn more people into them, that's the solution. We'll just otherize more people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we'll really ratchet down the ones that it's easy to pick on, to be bullies, basically.
It's just so funny because like the people that are waving the snaky no steppy flags, like as Colin so eloquently puts, the don't tread on me. It's like, but if you're not, you can't
don't tread on me, but I'm sure shit gonna tread on you
100%. And
I'm gonna step on your throat. I'm gonna put a boot on your throat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like, don't tread on me. What they don't see outside of the frame of that flag is the snake's tongue licking a big black boot.
Right. Yeah. I loved the memes that were going around a few weeks ago of that snake with the things. I don't understand how gas prices work. That was so great.
Yeah. But to tie it back to the play, it's like, I find a lot of inspiration from somebody who's willing to say, I am going to not just publicly be a pacifist and get arrested and killed. I am going to sign up for the fuck show and corrode it from within.
From within, yeah. Well, but I mean, just like I'm gonna turn it. That's what the fascists in our government think they're doing. That's what they think they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're corroding from within.
Who's pulling the strings then? The corporations?
Yeah, the 0.01%.
Yeah.
Because again, that's the goal, is just destabilization.
Yeah.
The people at that level don't give a fuck about countries or allegiances or anything like that. That's not,
because they have enough money to be stable. So if everything else is unstable, they're totally fine.
And that's kind of the goal, is to keep things unstable. As long as the poor, which is everybody making less than $10 million a year.
Yeah. Right.
Keep fighting each other. They got nothing to worry about.
Right. Yeah. And the people making 999 million or, whatever, just under that, let them think they're running the show.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I envision it anyway. That's based on all of my education that Hollywood has given me.
Really makes the case for, leaving this dimension and going to Zorgon, doesn't it?
That's what, that case has already been made for me, Joel. Like I'm totally on board. We just have some more tasks to do in this mortal life also.
Nice. I disparage the title of that hymn, "A Mighty Fortress Is Our God," but I do believe in taking refuge in spiritual principles.
Absolutely.
To protect me from getting just spun out on the world's fucking craziness.
That's been the only refuge.
That's it.
Yeah. That's the only refuge.
And we've said it here before. Like that's the only real act of rebellion you can do is to be not at war with yourself.
Agreed.
And to be okay. That is a radical act right now. Be okay.
I agree. That's the epitome of think globally, act locally.
Yeah. It is totally a radical act to take care of oneself right now. taking a nap is a radical act right now.
In that case, I'm fixing to just be complete radical.
Me too, man.
Yeah. Well, did we do it?
I guess. I will say, thank you for asking me about the play. I was kind of like, I wanted to be kind of, I just want to say this. It was incredibly wonderful to be in a theater and to feel like you get to experience this with your band. Like I haven't experienced being in front of an audience in a long time, besides my poor students who are paying to be there.
Right.
They have to see the stand-up act that is my lectures sometimes. But I got to just, craft a role and I there was a lot of self-doubt, but I want to give a shout out to previous guest Armando McLean, because I texted with him a little bit, and he would randomly text me, and I would be in rehearsal thinking about shit, and he'd just be like, "Are you enough?" Like, yes, Armando, I am enough. Yeah.
10 points for Armando. That's right. Awesome.
And dude, like, it felt so good to just like work on a role and be in a theater and be in front of a packed house for 6-7 shows. It was really, really wonderful. It was really nice to be in rehearsal with adults.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Sorry to any of my students that are listening, maybe, but I'm just like, it was really nice to just be an actor and just show up and do my job. And that was really, really a lovely experience. And I'm proud of myself. Like, somebody asked me like, how do you feel? And I'm like, you know what? I feel really proud. I'm really proud that this thing, came together and that it wasn't a total nightmare. And so
he was describing a total nightmare, but
yeah. But yeah, it was a big shout out to Angels Theater Company. Go support whatever they do. Support local theater. I get a lot of people that are like, I'd like to do theater. How do I get involved? I'm like, Angels Theater, Omni Arts, Lincoln Community Playhouse. I mean, there's tons of opportunities. So yeah, it felt really good. So thanks for giving space to chat about it, Steve.
Of course. Well, that was a good, it was a good, excuse me. It was a good experience for me. I'll leave it at that.
I'm glad you came. Thanks for supporting.
Too. Of course. All right. Well, I think I'm going to head to Sonic and then take a nap.
Nice. Yeah. Get a bunch of sugar. That's actually helpful.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, if you ever want to take a nap quick, like, eat some candy and then pass the fuck out.
Sure. That's my plan.
Yeah. My 1 o'clock plans got derailed. So I'm going to play some Zelda and take a nap.
Sounds awesome. So it sounds like a nice little Sunday. Yep.
Follow us on Instagram at Trying to Be Better Podcast. Email the show, please. Dude,
we got email.
What?
Yeah.
Mail time
from past guests Jack and Dave.
Oh, what'd they say?
They were sending email.
Oh, Jesus. There's nothing in there. Just like, hey, here's an email.
Kind of Dave's. I don't know if I can bring it up. Yeah. It was, they were funny. Let's see. Oh, Jack says, Wall of Forever was briefly mentioned on an early episode, but only for a minute. Also, I'd like to identify myself as one in favor of the time change just because it's weird.
Fuck you, Jack. That's horrible. It passed the House that they're going to get rid of daylight savings. It passed the House.
I hope it happens.
I hope it does too, because it's stupid.
And
You're wrong, Jack.
Dave says, hi guys, I just want to show my support by sending this email. This email is a vote for your awesomeness. I look forward to your show every week, and this email signifies my appreciation. This email equals thank you. Each time I use the word email counts as a separate email. So this counts as mini emails. So when you get to the not getting any emails segment, you can now say you have received 10 mails. 10 emails.
Thanks for the 10 emails.
Right.
Dave,
plus Jack, so that's 11. So we received 11 emails.
We got 11 emails. Our email address is TTBB podcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
We do need to talk about Wall of Forever at some point.
We do. That's another podcast.
That is another podcast.
Yep.
I'm going to keep on loving you, though.
I'm going to keep on loving you, too. All right, man. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Now staring at the bodies, they're dancing across the floor. Then the band's going to tempo, the music's dropping down.
Don't forget, toot your hooter.